Hey guys, I want to talk about something really important today. It's taking care of repairs around the house and how that really does range from being, say, a mild annoyance that some owners would rather just outsource to being really a challenge that some people choose to rise up to. And it makes sense that the money savvy among us, myself included, we might feel inclined to say pick up a hammer and roll up our shirt sleeves and really just tackle home improvement projects to save money. I mean, after all, if you could spend, say, $1,000 at Home Depot and increase the value of your home by $10,000, well, why not just do it yourself, right? Now, as it turns out, there are a few reasons why committing yourself to a home improvement job may not be the smartest decision financially. So today what I want to do is I want to discuss which home improvements make sense for you to do yourself, and I want to talk about which ones are better left for the professionals. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel. This is your boy, Matthew Pillmore, your cash flow coach. And I'm bringing you some additional tips, tricks, and techniques and really revolutionary ways to maximize your finances and so you can go as fast as possible and get as far along as you can and do so as safely as possible as well. So today what I want to do is dive into home improvements. It's a very important topic all of us can relate to, and specifically what I want to talk about are the ones that make sense to do yourself, DIY, as well as the ones that you should really leave to the pros. Because it's true. I mean, most of us assume that DIY is the way to go if you're trying to save as much money as possible and be as efficient as possible, but that really simply isn't the case all the time. So to get some insight into the subject of DIY home improvements, a recent report from NerdWallet actually revealed that the findings of a recent survey of over 1,300 different homeowners sought to find out how the homeowners decide whether or not to conduct their own home improvements, how they finance the work, and then how successful they are after all of the dust settles, literally. And I was surprised, a little surprised, I must admit, to find out that among the results of this survey, nearly 1/3 of homeowners don't have any money set aside specifically for home improvement projects. That to me is insane. Guys, what are we doing with our financial habits out here? I mean, for these individuals, when a water pipe springs a leak, or let's say it's time for new carpeting, the money required for the fixes is going to have to come from some other source. And if the fix is truly crucial to the functioning of the home, debt might be incurred. Now, this is a major financial strain, not just for the short term, but the long term too. This is something that needs to be taken into account when getting into real estate investing specifically. If you're gonna offer your properties as rentals, you better pay attention here. Now, I personally ran into this issue with a property I was renting out. Tenant chose not to pay the heating bill, dead of winter. I'm out of town at this point. This was down while I was in New Orleans trying to help out with the flooding there. Ironically enough, this tenant ended up bursting the pipe back at my rental property and caused a big flood for me to deal with. And so this was actually the only time that I ever had to evict somebody was when that pipe burst, and it cost thousands of dollars in damages, and I had to replace all the carpet. And I mentioned this in a previous video, which I'll link in the description below as well. But the NerdWallet survey also revealed that a whopping 56% of respondents on that survey said that they'd be willing to borrow money from friends or family or even, of course, the bank in order to pay for home improvement projects, as long as they thought that the value of their home was going to increase as a result. Now, I see a number of different problems with this, and hopefully you do as well. First, going into debt to finance large DIY home improvements should be reserved only for people who have a proven experience in this area. There's a reason why handymen and general contractors are very well paid. They've already invested thousands of dollars into their tools. They've invested thousands of dollars and years of experience into their skills and labor sources. You know, a lot of times they're even insured. They should be insured and even responsible for any mishaps along the way, which is a big consideration here as well. The second problem that I see with this is that going into debt for a DIY home fix is, as confident as you might be that your home is going to increase by X dollars because of this improvement, the interest that you'll pay on expensive debt like credit cards could actually make the entire process a zero-sum game for you in the end. And this is doubly true if the project doesn't go exactly as planned and you end up having to hire somebody to come in and fix all the mistakes you made in the end anyway. So America is really a nation of self-reliant do-it-yourselfers. I fall directly into that category. And according to the US Census, between 2015 and 2017, American homeowners spent, get this, $450 billion on roughly 113 million home improvement projects. Isn't that crazy? And that ranged from everything between remodeled kitchens to full roof replacements. And according to the data, 38% of these projects were actually done by homeowners themselves. So a little over a third, with most of the work being landscaping or say light remodeling to areas like master bedrooms, guest bedrooms, etc. Now the jobs that most homeowners outsourced have to do with, get this, roofing and alarm system installations. So how you decide whether or not a home improvement opportunity is something you should dive into is going to be really important. It's all about considering the worst case scenario. So what's the worst that could happen? Would your decision to do something yourself still be a good decision if the project went south? Of course, consider your skill level. How confident are you with the skills that are required to get that project done? The census data that I mentioned earlier reveals that the higher risk and more complex jobs are obviously best left for the professionals. Projects like roofing or security system installations. Also, things like electrical and plumbing. I mean, if there are companies that literally specialize solely in that one thing, then chances are there's a good reason for that. And that said, we do live in a great time for DIYers because, in my opinion at least, the greatest recent invention when it comes to learning something new, yes, I happen to be talking about our one and only beloved YouTube. Well, you can find videos detailing virtually almost every job out there. Now, I did find one exception recently. My friends, I was attempting a DIY project on my new Jeep where I was transferring the old windshield wiper to the new windshield for the new top for the Jeep. And I needed to just get a DIY on how to uninstall it from the previous windshield and put it on there. I thought it seemed like it should be fairly easy. Not only could I not figure it out, but there wasn't even a video on YouTube for this yet. So I may have found the one example where somebody hasn't yet made a video about it. But with this resource, it can be really tempting to take something on that happens to be far beyond your wheelhouse, which this was for me. I'm just not a mechanical person in general. So really the key is just weighing the following things. I mean, the financial implication didn't cost me anything to go down there, try it, not be able to figure it out. The skill level as well as comfort level on that, I had neither of those two things, but I also had a small dose of confidence that I would figure it out along the way. That was squashed relatively quickly. And then you just weigh all those things together, right? Is it worth the money that you're gonna save? In this case, it was for me. If yes, well then, do your skills match up with the work? No, mine didn't, not quite. So, well, what's the comfort level on taking on the project and stretching my abilities and experience? Well, I felt like it was worth it. And finally, then, what is the worst case scenario? In this case, I just leave the wiper on the old windshield and I go without it on the new unless I choose to have a professional get involved at that point. So there was really no harm, no foul, just a little bit of time lost. Took me about an hour to realize I wasn't gonna get it done. So if you're thinking of saving a few $100s by, say, painting the garage yourself instead of hiring somebody else to do it. And let's say worst case scenario is you accidentally tip over a paint bucket and a gallon of paint spills everywhere. Well, you're not gonna go too terribly wrong with that and get too terribly affected. It'll be frustrating, but it's not gonna ruin much as long as you get it cleaned up. On the other hand, if you're, say, a zealous person and you wanna embark on a full room addition or you wanna go down and remodel your entire basement, think of what could happen if your measurements are off or if you make a critical construction error as you go. The problem could end up costing you a lot more than what it would have just cost you to hire the outside source and help in the first place. So I think this is a very important decision-making process for you. And it's not uncommon even for the most daring of us to overestimate our abilities, let's face it. I'm not suggesting that you don't do all you can to save money. That's what we're here talking about, is getting the same outcome, the same lifestyle, but spending less for it. So I support that. What I am suggesting here is that if you learn all you can about what you're getting into before you decide to commit to it, full bore. Like I said, we do live in an incredible time for quick learning. I think you can make the right decision. So at the end of the day, only you can decide if you're prepared and skilled enough to be successful in improving your home by yourself. The overall message here is to just proceed with caution. If this isn't something that you've done before, and don't be afraid to swallow your pride and outsource it if it looks like it's complex. So guys, what are your thoughts here? Have you taken on some DIY projects yourself? If you don't mind just summarizing that, what did you do, right? Did you handle any remodels? Did you just do some basic upkeep? Go ahead and spell it out there in the comments section below. I'm really interested to hear what you've been up to. The biggest project that I ever took on was roughly $30,000 worth of various repairs, but we did at one point choose to outsource about $6,000 of it for flooring and some sprinkler installation. We did attempt the sprinkler installation on our own. Due to the different types of soil that was in there, was all this clay, it ended up being so difficult. I bit off way more than I could chew at that point. So we did end up having to bring in the backup plan. So what have you experienced along the way. I'm very curious, and until we see you guys on the next video, please give this a big thumbs up, become a subscriber, make it a great day today, and take care.